Few days ago, I was out of town and I visited a colleague of mine that I've not seen or been part of his business for almost 18 months. And while I was in the shops or in his office, something very striking struck me. And that was the fact that I noticed that more than 60% of his employee that I noticed or I was part of the onboarding process few months ago are no more in the company's establishment. And I asked few questions from those that I could still recognize them and asked, where is XYZ? And they told me, where are they? And they told me they are no more working with the organization. Then I asked a colleague of mine, which of course I went to visit, and asked him, what happened to XYZ? And of course, the same thing. And I know the same scenario plays out in many organizations where we get to see a high turnout rate of clients or of staff in the organization such that it cannot allow or bring about consistency in processes. Hello, my name is Samuel Owoseni, a revenue growth specialist, and today I'll be talking about 6 attributes or 6 pointers that make or causes high turnout in organization. Of course, we all know this is a normal thing for individuals or staff to leave an organization. But when it becomes so frequent, few things need to be looked into by the organization or by the managers and those that are responsible for hiring and maintaining the right structure in the organization. And of course, this is why I'm bringing up these 6 pointers to be checked in order to ensure that you retain your best ends and you retain them for a longer time. Number one, pace that does not keep with the reality on ground. Of course, we get to see this many times where we get to see organizations pay peanuts to their staff. In the current reality of Nigeria and economic space, some amount take home cannot really meet up with the current reality. Yeah, we're going to talk about the increase in energy, housing, food, and what have you. Some organizations still pays their staff, full staff, for as low as 30 to 40, even 50,000. And you expect such staff to be in the office 6 times in a week and deliver jobs for you optimally. So obviously, that pay does not commensurate with the reality on ground. And the staff that really find himself or herself in such situation, we always look at for a greener pasture. Number two is toxic work culture and poor human management. I've seen severally during the course of my discovery section where the organization structure or culture of an institution becomes so toxic that staff no longer back up themselves to ensure that they bring out the success of the overall goal of the organization. There's always competition for who is being heard first at the detriment of the business success. And more importantly, sometimes we get to see managers tend to bring in divide and rule process or systems where they allow for gossip, they allow for backbiting and all ill manner attitude in the organization. And again, sometimes also we get to see the process at which they discipline their staff when they go wrong may not be properly handled the right way, where we get to see managers shout at the staff, curse them, or say some names or give them some names that are not to be heard of or being called by an adult. In any case, such obviously make the staff feel not useful or not welcome in that organization, and of course it creates a toxic work environment. Number three in this case is no growth path or skill development. All right, I went to visit a friend one certain time and I asked them, now that we're getting to 2026, what is your budget for training? All right, this is a question that caught him off guard as he had no clear cut budget to train his staff. And most times we get to see even CEOs or entrepreneurs not even giving in a portion budget to train their staff for the next 6 to 1 year. And of course, they just expect the staff to bring out magic itself. So sometimes you don't get to really ensure your staff get the latest trainings that they needed to make them perform effectively and efficiently in the tasks that have been assigned to them. And of course, with that itself, because they are not performing so well, they don't have a structured path for growth, where you get to see a staff that is being stagnated in the same position for 3, 4, 5 years without having a remunerational increase or even a positional change that will really affect his pedigree for good or what have you itself. So again, because staff do not see this growth pattern in their working environment, Such makes such staff to become discouraged, and of course, they know such organizations do not care for their growth in that regard. Number four is work-life balance and then burnout. We get to see some times where organizations will make their staff work 6 times or even 7 times in a week. And even when they are off, their phones keep ringing even at their off period. Why? Because they feel the staff need to do so much more for them to hit their target, and such staff begin to perform at a lower productivity rate, and the efficiency begins to dwindle. And such staff that cannot cope with such a churnout rate or with such a burnout or workload will definitely resign from such organization. And number five is the Japa wave and the remote global opportunity. Now, because remote opportunity pays more in foreign currency, and a lot of individuals also have decided to what to japa or to find a better greener pasture outside the country. That has resulted into skill gap itself, and of course many people are now looking out for, why should I have to work in a place where I have to resume 5 6 times in a week instead of me trying to do a remote job that can always save cost on transportation and other expenses as well. And number six, which is the final one, is job insecurity and poor complaint structure. In a case where you don't have structures where lighted or planned out for your staff, which of course has to do with paying for their pension, their gratuity, their HMO, and what have you, that makes job security even much interesting for staff. Such that feel is undervalued in that very organization, and of course we now bring in the best of its work or its productivity into play itself. So it's important to look at all these six factors. We at International Academy of Sales and Telemarketing Management is an onboarding HR talent acquisition organization in Nigeria, and we are able to assist you in this regards. Perhaps you have a problem or you have issues with any of these itemized pointers that have been discussed. Like, come your way next time. Keep enjoying, keep selling, keep growing the revenue, and keep improving the sales. Bye bye.